Listen, you're getting it wrong. Can we see? I can see because I can just welcome back to my channel. It's another video, another filming hack and tips, and I'm absolutely in love with this series because I feel like this is where I really thrive. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys my tips, my tricks, my hacks when it comes to filming beauty content and having like this flawless skin. I'm going to be showing you guys my settings as well as my setups and what you should do and not do. So yeah, if you guys are someone who is trying to film like beauty content, or you just want to look flawless while filming, I'm going to be sharing with you guys a couple of ways, couple of hacks, as well as a couple of tips you can apply in order to elevate your content. So yeah, if you're interested, then definitely keep on watching. I'm going to be showing you guys behind the scenes like I always do. If you are yet to check out my filming setup, click on this link right here. So with filming beauty content, I feel like this is the hardest type of content to film because you need good lighting, you need detailing so everyone can see exactly what you're doing because you're working with the face. So I'm going to be showing you guys the different tips, different hacks that you can apply. Okay, so the first thing I want to share with you guys is my camera settings because this plays a major role in how the picture looks, how the quality is, and how good the lighting is. So now I'm going to take you guys behind the scenes and show you guys what I'm currently working with and how this settings makes a whole lot of difference. Listen, watch this video till the end because every step really counts. And you might think your camera settings, if you're filming in the default settings, then you're getting it wrong. I'm going to show you guys how to get it right and how you can achieve this look that you're seeing right here. I kind of look like I have a glow. This just enhances the entire thing. So I'm going to go over to my settings. Now, typically I film in either standard mode or neutral mode. I feel like with beauty content, these two modes are the best. If you guys want to know why I film in this setup and what the different picture styles look like, check this video right here. I break everything down to you in so much details. So now in my settings, I always go into the settings of the standard. I never want to record without adjusting the settings, but this is basically what I always use. I'm going to show you guys how I set it up. So for my sharpness, I usually take it down to a 0. And the reason why I take it down to a 0 is with beauty content, you want everything to be smooth, everything to be flawless, and everything to be soft. The key is soft. Now, what I like to do in my sharpness is to take everything down to 0, and I'm going to be showing you guys the difference that this makes in terms of what the quality looks like. So this is what we look like when my sharpness is at 0, but again, this is what it looks like when I increase it, right? So now it is at 7, right? So now I've increased it to the highest, which is 7. Very unrealistic. I look so artificial. Don't do this. If you ever want to adjust the sharpness of your picture, your video, do that during post-production. But while recording, while setting your camera, you want to make sure that it is at the lowest point, so that way you can always do like post-production and editing. But this is what it looks like at 7. As you guys can, let me come closer so you guys can see. You can see my face, like everything looks too artificial, it looks too enhanced, and my skin just, it looks good. But it's just, I feel like it's too harsh for a beauty content. So what I like to do is to take it down to like a 0 or like a number 1. Worst case scenario, if I feel like I need to increase the sharpness, I always do that during post-production. But raw footage is so important because if you have a crappy raw footage, there's only so much you can do in post-production. But if you have a good footage, then you can make it look the best during post-production. So now I'm going to take this to 0. Oof, so this is what it looks like at 0. I don't know if you guys can see the drastic difference. I'm not going to add any extra post-production editing to this content right here because I want you guys to truly see the difference in terms of what the sharpness does. So yeah, this is how I would typically film like a 0. If I need to enhance it, I'll do that during post-production, but I like to keep it at 0. Worst case scenario, I keep it at 1 or 2, or most likely 1. So this is what we're looking like right now. So I have my sharpness set to 0. This is what it looks like. My face looks flawless. Let me do it before and after. Sharpness at 0, sharpness at 7. So I really hope you guys can see the drastic change and the difference between those two settings. And that's why I said do not film in a default mode. Don't do that. Okay, so next up, I always film with my contrast at -2 or -3. I also feel like this helps in softening the blacks. It softens the image at the same time, because with blacks and whites, this is what basically makes up the lighting. So black and white, so the more contrasty your content or your video is, the more harsh it will be on the skin, right? So with my contrast, I typically have that in -3 or -2, depending on how I'm feeling. But by default, Canon puts this at 0. I'm going to show you what that 0 looks like. Probably that's what you're filming in, but let me just show you guys what that 0 looks like now. So by default, no adjustment, no post-production. This is raw footage coming out of my camera. This is what the contrast looks like at 0, and this is the default setting. Again, like I said, with contrast, it kind of enhances the blacks, and with beauty, you don't want to really do that. You want it to be soft and as light as possible, so that way it's even. But now you guys can see, like, it's too contrasty, like it's just too, it's too harsh. So something I like to do is to decrease the harshness, and I take it to the left side, and I usually take it to like -2 or -3. Let me show you guys what -3 looks like. Yes, so this is what -3 looks like. I don't know if you guys can see the obvious difference. Like, everything looks softer, it looks more natural this way. The blacks are not so harsh, and it gives room for adjustment in terms of post-production. So always keep that in mind. But this is what it looks like. I feel like it just evens out the skin and evens out the background at the same time. It doesn't play around with my lighting. I love you doing this. So I usually keep it at -3 or -2, depending on my mood and, you know, what I'm working with. So this is what it looks like again. Then lastly, with my saturation, I always take it down a notch. I don't like my content to be too vibrant, because that is not realistic, right? I'm not very orange or very colorful in picture. Like, I want beauty to be like a true representation of what I'm working with and, you know, what I look like, okay? So I always take my saturation to like a -1, sometimes a -2, because I'm always going to do like post-production and increase the saturation during there. But when we have it at +1, you don't have room for post-production. You don't have room to enhance it during post-production. Let me show you guys what it looks like when it's in 0. What's that? Okay. Okay, so actually now looking at it, I feel like this would be nice, but I feel like if I film like this, I wouldn't kind of do post-production to it. I wouldn't edit it during post-production, because this actually looks nice. So if you're someone who is not good with editing videos, then you can definitely film in 0. But when you start moving it upwards to the positive side, it's going to look too... If you're a dark skin, you're going to look orange. Let me show you what I'm talking about now. We just turned up the dial just 2 notches, right? And I'm looking like a pumpkin. I look orange. It is so unrealistic. Don't do this. Don't even increase it by 1. Don't do that. Put it at 0 if you are going to be filming and you don't want to do a lot of post-production. But if you want the best and more of a natural look, then put it at -1, which is what I'm currently filming. God, I feel a lot better. I don't know if you guys can see the difference, obviously, but yeah, this is usually how I film. And then the last dial is a color tone. I like to keep that on 0, because if you reduce it, you're gonna look pink. If you increase it, you're gonna look green, and you don't want that. So this is how I typically set my camera, because again, the camera, there's only so much you can do. Having manual control over it, it makes a whole lot of difference, because again, default is never the best. Don't film in default. Don't film in auto if you want the best quality. You can film in auto, but if you want the best quality, tweak it yourself and see what you're doing while you're doing that. So that way you kind of have like You see what you're working with, if that makes sense. So now that we're done with this, again, I'm going to show you guys what my lighting setup looks like so you guys have an idea of what we're working with. But if you guys want to know how to set your camera, I'll leave the link right here. That way you can see how I set my camera. But currently, just in case you're wondering, I have my shutter speed at 1/100. My f-stop is at f1.8. That way we can get like a blurry background. And my ISO is I always feel my ISO is always at 100. That way we get the best quality and we're not over stressing the camera. But this is what it looks like now. I want to take you guys behind the scenes and show you guys the second part of this, because with having like this flawless skin while filming, there are two things that I usually consider the camera settings as well as the lighting. But lighting in this case is key. Is the key. This is the key, and I'm going to be showing you guys how I have my lighting set up and share with you guys other tips and tricks you can use as well. Okay, so now guys, I want to take you guys behind the scenes and really show you guys what I'm working with and what my current lighting setup looks like. Again, in case my camera is shaky, I'm so sorry, I'm holding it with my hand, but I really want to take you guys behind the scenes so you guys can see what I'm working with and understand how this works and what I'm talking about basically. My number one rule is to always film with soft lights. Like, if there's anything you're not taking from me, is to always film with soft lights. And if you guys notice anything with my setup, is that all my lights have been diffused. My softbox has a diffuser in front of it. My ring light has like a cloth diffuser in front of it, and this LED panel right here has a diffuser in front of it. This right here is the same thing as this one, right? But let me just stand in front of this so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Like, I'm washed out, I'm blown out. I can adjust my camera settings. Let me do that right now. Like, even when I adjust my camera settings, you guys can definitely see like how harsh this light is compared to this light over here. Let me just stand a little bit closer so you guys can see. Compared to this light over here, this light is so soft, it's so diffused. There's a diffuser in front of it. So even if you're filming with natural lights, let me just open this door right here because I do have like a door right here. It's blown out because it's really bright. Even if you're filming with natural light, something that I always do, because I do have a hook right here. Again, I'm a DIY sucker. You guys already know this. I have hooks everywhere. If you guys want to know how I hang my backdrop, I'll have a link over here at the same time. I use hooks. But I have a hook over there, and I have this huge panel over here. So if you don't have studio lights and you want to film with your natural lights, still the same thing. Try and use diffuse lights. Don't stay directly in front of the window because it will do you more harm than good. But just by using, oh, this light is so beautiful, right? It's beautiful because it's not, the sun is not directly facing me. But if I want it to look a lot more beautiful on my skin and a lot more flawless, I'm going to grab this huge diffuser right here and just hang that here. Again, I'm a DIY sucker. It is diffused just like we are doing there and there at the same time. So now this is what it looks like when I'm filming in front of it. The light is not as harsh as it was before. Again, if you're trying to film beauty content, soft light is the way to go. Anything aside from that, stay away from it. It will do you more harm than good. Okay? So now I'm filming in front of my window. This is what it looks like with this diffusing panel right here, and this is what it looks like without that. Like, you guys can see like highlights, and it's just too much. Put it back up. We can see like it's amazing. So, and now I really do hope you get the gist with lighting and having like a really soft diffused light in terms of making sure your face is even and is soft at the same time. Something else that I always do that I would advise you to do is to get yourself reflectors, get yourself fall paper, get yourself a mirror, anything that can diffuse or bounce back, anything that can bounce back the light, get yourself that. Now in front of me, I have a reflector panel, and I also have a board right here that I kind of covered up using fall paper. So I just placed that on a board and I elevated it up so that way the light from my ring light bounces there, this light bounces there, and it's just like it's just like a dungeon of beautiful soft light, because all the lights are soft, none is harsh. So that way it just smoothens the skin as opposed to something hitting me so harsh. But let me show you guys what we look like when we don't use it. This, I tell you, is the key to having a flawless skin. Diffuse the light and reflect the light and you're good to go. Diffuse and reflect. So let me just take black. This is a black sheet because black cancels out the light. White, obviously, white bounces the light. So let me just use this black sheet to just cover up this entire. Okay, so this is what it would look like if I didn't have a foil paper, a reflector, a mirror underneath me. Here is dark. I have a lot of lights in front of me, but again, I don't look perfect. This is not perfect lighting. So once we take this out, take note of the difference. Can we see? I can see because I can just, like, I feel like this reflector right here is another source of light, because just look at me. Just take a look at me, right? Having good, soft, even light makes your skin look really soft and very even out and very natural at the same time. So this is what we look like with the reflector. So now I don't need to talk too much. You guys have seen the difference. So it's not just me talking and rambling. You've seen the difference, so you can definitely make the decision yourself and decide on what to invest in. But this is definitely something to try out. If you use foil paper, if you don't have this, like, go to your kitchen, cut out foil paper, put that underneath on top of your table, you're good, right? So this is what I do. So yeah, guys, I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really do love lighting, and I love like setting up, and I love this entire production side of it, of creating content online here. If you guys enjoyed this video, I know that you would be in love with my other videos regarding like my filming setup and my camera settings, which you should definitely check if you are trying to like play around with your camera settings and figure out what the best setting is. I'll leave the links right here. You can check that out for yourself. Again, if you're here for the first time, hi, it's good to have you here on my channel. We share tips, tricks, and strategies that you can apply to your content in order to elevate your content to get the best out of it. I'll see you guys in one of these videos. Subscribe.